What's up? It's Overwatch League. Harry, anything to add?
Oh man, sup, you up? It's time for the play-ins finals, baby. It's gonna be Seoul Dynasty going up against the Dallas Fuel, and this is hopefully gonna be a banger. Last time it was not, but Seoul Dynasty are coming in with a hot hand, and they are looking pretty clean today. Those Ria already walking away with one player of the match today. Who says he can't get two in a single day?
I think Harbin has something to say about that, and the rest of the Dallas Fuel, they would like to repeat their upper bracket game, a 3-0 result versus the Seoul Dynasty that we just saw yesterday. Fairly comprehensive, at least in terms of the match result being a 3-0. A third map as well on the Flashpoint. Very one-sided, very decisive, but it was the first two maps that were actually quite competitive, and you felt the ability for the Seoul Dynasty to be able to pull something special through. Well, they had no troubles getting past the Guangzhou Charge as expected, but Dallas Fuel, another beast entirely. This is going to be a much tougher opponent.
An entirely different tier of competition here, but only one of these teams can make it to Toronto. Please stop eating that innocent creature. Although it doesn't seem
looks
overly...
like it's enjoying it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem overly perturbed with its fate. Like, well, this is my life and potentially my death now. And you know what? I'm just going to roll with it. I could have died in a gamma ray burst. So, I'm just glad I made it this far.
One more win for both teams. Dallas Fuel, they really want to get over towards the playoffs. They've won the previous season. They want to be there to defend their title. We'll see if they can get it done. You know what? It's the Dallas Fuel.
Reigning champions with their playoffs in peril. Still, Dallas Fuel are the favourites coming into this. It's difficult to argue otherwise with a 3-0 victory yesterday, which looked like an absolute smacking of a Seoul Dynasty. And when it comes to this team, there is one sign ashore that rises above all others, and that's Hanbin on the Junker Queen. This guy is crazy on a plethora of tanks, but for Junker Queen it feels more than any other. Few other players have expressed the mastery of a character to the degree that Hanbin has on the Junker Queen. It's been a central element to Dallas Fuel's late season dominance.
And the season is still within their hands, and the patch might even improve for the Dallas Fuel. They can make to the playoffs, so there is so much to look forward to for this Dallas squad as the sights are set high in 2023. We're going to talk about a turnaround of the season. Seoul Dynasty have had that, but so have the Dallas Fuel. And Dallas Fuel, you could argue, have had an even bigger turnaround. They were not looking fantastic in spring, but in summer, they've essentially gone undefeated except the one team. The Hangzhou Spark have been the only issue for the Dallas Fuel, but no other team has really been able to successfully challenge them, Seoul Dynasty included. As the last match they played was a 3-0, and the final match they played before that was in spring stage. So, trying to remember the result. Maybe Seoul Dynasty actually won that, but that was so long ago in a different patch that both teams played so differently and had their struggles of their own in spring. But in summer so far, on this resurgence for both teams, Dallas have been on top, and they got nothing to change because they know what they've been working on, what they've been working with has been succeeding. It's up to the Seoul Dynasty, based on what Ballasari was saying in the interview, to find the counters, to find the counter comps, to find the ability to get past the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, of course, as we saw from Guangzhou Charge, stolen homework isn't always the best approach. Guangzhou Charge tried to make the Doomfist work, but Gushui used to absolutely flummox the tightly knit formations of the Dallas Fuel. when Hangzhou Spark defeated them most recently, but it isn't always an easy go-to. Admittedly, going up against Belos 3 as a wrestler was a slightly different beast for that Doomfist. Still, for Dallas Fuel, there's no need to change what you're running until Seoul Dynasty prove that they are effective enough to stop it from being just an easy win.
Dynasty warmed up. Fuel are prepared. They watched that last game. Realistically, they're seeing the same things out of the Seoul Dynasty so far. Gotta be careful for surprises. They noted the surprise of the Prophet Pharaoh on Lee Jung yesterday. Got past that. Remember, again, it was a 3-0, so what bits and pieces that the Seoul Dynasty did have prepared specifically for Dallas did not find purchase in yesterday's game.
Don't talk about it. Don't look at it.
No, we'll take that. We'll take that. All good. All
I would
good,
take it
as
well.
Jaws would say.
It's all good. You do be munching.
As those wings do be wicked, as Jaws would say. All right, we do be moving on to Lee Jung Tower. It is the choice of... Did I get all of them? Did I get all of them? I did. I think I got all of them.
I think you got them all, man.
Okay.
They're all dead.
All. Ash Ketchum took 20 years to catch them all. I did it in one sentence. Here we go. Dallas Fuel. Lee Jung Tower, no surprise. Look, both teams are okay on this map. I mean, Seoul played it yesterday as well. They picked it versus the Guangzhou Charge. We're gonna get into familiar territory. Map 2 is gonna be interesting. Obviously, Dynasty would like to go to Eichenwalde. Dallas, they actually beat them on Eichenwalde yesterday, but not too close for comfort.
It was real close. Remember that Lee Jung Tower last time actually had a round that could have gone the way of Seoul Dynasty and made it a 2-0 for them on market, except they had a nasty APAC 9. Just did not touch the point when they were coming in with maybe 3 or 4 ultimates and what could have been a turning fight. Dallas Fuel, I'm not sure if they'll be as lucky this time, but when it comes to the Dallas Fuel, luck is rarely part of the calculation. The mass calculus towards victory is often pockmarked with the plays of Edison and with Hanbin. Edison in particular has been having a fantastic play-ins thus far. Always able to find value out of these artillery strikes, which is a bit of a rarity considering that it isn't a hugely powerful ultimate.
I gotta talk about Hanbin. He's gonna come out on the Sigma. This is for real. I don't know that Bellatrix is not gonna come through on the Junkwing. That's gonna be a shout and then exit. I'm surprised that Hanbin's not already doing his own shout, but I think they're TPing out of spawn, so there's no need for it. Sigma is actually not bad into the Orisa at all. They gotta speed through. They gotta get to the midpoint very quickly. Dynasty, they're not gonna challenge Bridge. Smart, because they're slow. So they need a challenge for White Room. Now into full front versus back, front to back rather combat. Hanbin on one of his signature heroes. He's got a lot of them.
Rolling through the TP, shield goes up and that allows for a disengagement here from Dallas Fuel. Now they may well be able to control this with their own teleporter, but instead it's just a fake out given over by Sparkle to try and demand some attention as Dallas Fuel move forward with their own tank form. Belos 3, spear spin will avoid most of the damage incoming. You know the Prophet's got so much power behind this beam now. Sparkle winning out though, that's a critical juncture. One DPS still going the way of each team, but Sparkle may well have overextended. Continues to live until Belos 3 manages to find him. And Seoul Dynasty open up pretty strong here, unless MCD has anything to say about it. Bliss can't survive. This should be the first cap, but Dallas Fuel are hanging on by their toenails.
Yeah, really good pacing coming through from the Seoul Dynasty there. Instant TP onto Easy Hunt. You can see the damage difference coming through straight away. His ult charge versus Edison, it's only going in one direction. With the cap finally being secured for the Dallas Fuel, a little bit of a reset there from by the Seoul Dynasty rather. A reset coming through from the Dallas Fuel. So they have to reconsider what their strategy is going to be. Note the double support ultimates about to be online for the Seoul Dynasty. They're generally ahead of everybody on the Dallas Fuel. The two Symmetras finding a bit of parity, as are the two back players.
Real big difference at the moment has to be that Bastion. Easy Han given over for Nano, but it's all eaten up by Hanbin. Just gets on top of that little bot that could, and making sure he's the little bot that couldn't. Sparkle taken out in the end, and even though it was a good engagement to take down Easy Han, Seoul Dynasty wipe it out.
He'll needed the barrier to come through as well. The sound barrier, I think, just wasn't there for Bliss. They get Easy Han down, but the rest of the Seoul Dynasty still on board. Double support ultimates committed. Another fight won. Hanbin massively pressured. You saw the amount of damage on the Hanbin straight away in that fight. Forced to go very defensive. The field. Gonna move quickly onto the point. Straight away, here we go. Wall versus wall. Hard stalemate.
Artillery into this wall. It's easy to just try and strafe around the wall to make sure that you aren't going to be a victim of that one. Dallas Fuel still yet to cap though as Belos rear battens down the hatches. Nice body block on the spear, admittedly. Come in, everybody!
Oh my God.
Have a look at this artillery! My friend is so keen to show it to you! Oh, please rate 5 stars.
Terror Surge into Artillery Strike. I've been waiting for that combo for so damn long. That is a guaranteed way to land down Hellfire from the skies. Guaranteed damage. Our Dallas Fuel. About 1 fight left to play through. That's another guarantee. Gonna need to see the big ultimates come through this time around. As Belastria wants to greet them at the entrance.
Hunting for the Ana, Krillin and Vindime. Neither going to be taking too much damage from that. Edison unable to deliver the goods on this one as Hanbin lifts up 2 players into the air. Still the follow-up might well be difficult to try and find. Belos rear falls by the wayside as it was a split targeting from Dallas Fuel which managed to isolate Belos rear when everyone else was skyborn. And finally Dallas Fuel find their man.
Well dodged by Hanbin, then he dodges Javelin, and I don't know if this sleep came through Krillin or not, but nothing hits, so he lands that flux and Belastria gets caught in the open. As a primary target. Belastria down, which by the way, that was his first death, for those who were curious. With Belastria down, floodgates are open for the Dallas Fuel. Now they're the ones that sit onto double support ultimates as Krillin's still 6% off. And he hasn't had a chance to swap off the Ana yet, as the Ana is prepped versus the Jungle Queen. It's still okay in this matchup, but not ideal. See who the Nano goes on towards this particular fight. Might just go back over towards Easy Hunt. Damage boosted in the turret form could be good.
Song of 2 windows potentially, but Easyhan is too late to be defended. Belos Rhea going to be taking plenty of damage. That double actually blows up Vindime. Prophet going to be falling by the wayside as well, and the advantage conferred by the wall from Sparkle there was simply too much to override.
Well, Easyhan just got melted, even with the nano boost, the double damage into halving your HP. So mathematically, you're just taking normal damage through that, but a normal damage on a Bastion is still plenty to kill. Prophet not having the Photon Barrier in that fight was definitely costly as Sparkle was ahead. Now, Seoul Dynasty themselves aren't quite in the last fight territory, but if they take too long, it will be in short while. They need something to play to it. It will have to come through from Prophet.
Artillery strikes woven up here in a tight area. This can do a good amount of damage, but Seoul Dynasty mostly managed to evade that. Could well be the final fight here, and so much is on the shoulders of Bliss with the sound barrier behind them. Oh,
he's stunned.
Oh, going so low. Now going to counter-attack. Belos rear taken down. The beams are too much. Easyhan floats a few feet above Terra Firma before coming smashed down at the hands of Sparkle. What a in-round reverse sweep here from Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, this is the clutch factor. We see it once again. This is what happened in the 3-0 that we saw yesterday. The Dallas Fuel, they might start down, but it's not how you start the series. It's not how you start the season. It's about where you end in the map, the series, the entire year. And for the Dallas Fuel, it's all lights on. It's all looking green, or rather, it's all looking blue right now. For the Seoul Dynasty, though, they got damn close, but they just barely missed out. It seems like when they play against a Fuel, victory slips through their fingers way too often.
All systems go. Here's a quick replay. Having a look at Edison. This may well be the evaporating of Belos rear. Indeed it is.
This kill is huge.
Yeah, Belos rear just popped the fortify a touch too early there. Didn't expect the full rush to come through, thinking it could be rebuffed by something like Easyhan's tank mode.
And Dynasty now, they have to be considerate of the fact that Hanbin can go back to Queen here. Krillin's expecting that to be the case, so he stayed on the Ana. Otherwise, Lucio's probably a little bit more useful for the Seoul Dynasty. Prophet's back over towards the Mei as well, which in this particular matchup, you're going to lose out on poke damage. Hanbin staying on the Sigma is, again, huge for the Dallas Fuel, given that the Dynasty are rolled out on their Queen countercomp.
Oh, look at that anti, though. All of the Dallas Fuel are so low. It's going to be down to MCD to try and make it work. But Edison, the rescue from the back. The best defense is a good offense, and the best offense is a Bastion, especially one named Edison. And that's just about enough can opener pressure to crack open the Seoul Dynasty.
Huge plays again. Edison leading the way. First for opening fight on Gardens. Went the way of Easyhan, this time a control center. And Dallas Fuel will take it via some nice damage output from Edison. Now MCD is gigantically ahead of everyone in the lobby. I don't know if the Dynasty are going to be ready for this one, and Fuel can even milk this out a little bit. They want to wait too long because Vindime's going to catch up. However, it's up to the Dynasty to put themselves in position first. You also don't want to allow the Dynasty just to rotate through.
They've got to tax them with the poke, make sure that they pay the troll toll for moving through the area for Dallas Fuel. For now, though, quiet on the western front as the artillery does prepare. Is it going to be more of a Psalm or an Ypres, though? Everyone rushing forward into machine gun certainly speaks more of Verdun to me, and it's just as many fatalities as Dallas Fuel tear apart for Seoul Dynasty.
Now, this has been clinical so far on round number 2. We had Dynasty starting out with major advantages on Gardens, but it was the Dallas Fuel who ended up with a comeback on that map, and we're now on to round 2 here on Control Center. Fuel lead and comfortably leads as well. Dynasty still waiting to use their ultimates. Edison off-angling.
Oh, he's been avoided here, though. Nice. They've run the gauntlet and just hoodwinked this away. Double damage coming through, of course. That will break down the photon barrier, but not for a while. Edison, now that it's gone down, is starting to rain hell down upon his counterpart. Easy Han remains alive with the help of a nano boost, but Vindime not quite so lucky. Terror Surge drags in multiple members, an attempt to try and evade it, but no. It's too much damage coming through from the artillery strike that was laying down on top of the Terror Surge as well. Velos Rhea surely can't survive against the Sim, and this seems like more of a clean sweep for Dallas Fuel.
Yeah. This is bad for the Seoul Dynasty, and that's obvious to say. Let's see what Belisria goes. Might have to be a Doom just to come back quickly. It's all about speed now for the Seoul Dynasty. Final contest, Dallas had to go 0-99 on the last round, but here, they've got to get the 99. They're just going to be there. Still waiting for Harmer to maybe find this next Flux. He's in a little bit of trouble here. Grab spell available, and it's 2 members down. It's everyone on the field connecting their shots. The Seoul Dynasty, the hands are going to be empty as the Dallas Fuel comfortably walk away with a 1-0 in the series.
Sparkle's on form today. 11 final blows, the highest on the team at the end of this round. Some big plays with the TP as well, getting Edison into that backline when it felt like Dallas Fuel could have easily been flummoxed on that first fight, and if that May had managed to get into a defensive position, it would have been so hard to try and break those bombs as a Sigma with no mobility options, but still, Dallas Fuel, when the chips are down, they always manage to find a clutch.
Tell you what, Seoul Dynasty, they thought they were cooking today, but they've entered Hell's Kitchen. And for Dallas Fuel, those flames in that kitchen burning bright blue, it is the Sigma to come on through to really make things difficult for the Orisa. You thought Queen was all that Dallas Fuel were capable of playing. No, sir. This series just got interesting. We'll see you after the break. 1-0 so far. Dallasfield coming through strong and not on what you thought they would be playing today. It's been the Junker Queen for the entirety of the knockouts, for basically the whole of the summer stage as well. But right now in the play-ins, the most important game, the most important match that decides who enters playoffs, it is the Hanbin Sigma. A blast from the past that is the counter-comp from the Dallasfield and the Seoul Dynasty. It's clear that they're not ready for it because they came through with a bunch of picks that would be indicative of the fact that they expected Hanbin to play the Junker Queen. And obviously, they would expect that because we all did. And Seoul Dynasty, they did not adjust.
I mean, Belos Ria, during the post-game interview, said that they were cooking up something to try and deal with the fuel. Maybe we were looking in the wrong direction. Maybe it wasn't Seoul Dynasty who were going to change their comps. They were actually going to log into Hanbin's account and disable his access to Junker Queen. And Hanbin just said, you know what? That's fine. My plan B, just as good as my plan A. And it feels like the Sigma does a lot, especially with the Ana in the meta, as well, to try and block off healing from Belos Ria and make them a lot more vulnerable.
Seoul Dynasty actually need to swap their comp once they see the Sigma. That's the problem. Eichenwalde was a good map for them yesterday as well. They lost by very fine margins. And realistically, this should be, if there is a map in the pool that Dynasty should be confident on that they can actually take away from the field, it should be this one now. Granted, I think the likelihood of going here is going to be high. It is the guarantee map choice if Dallasfield win map number 1, and well, they win it strongly enough that now the Seoul Dynasty need to lock in. You have to remember, this is a first to 3. We're not going to 7 here. The series could end quick if the Seoul Dynasty don't start pulling together now.
Yeah, especially if you're shell-shocked going into Flashpoint. One early mistake, you let Hanbin get set up on the defense. Man's not going to let you get through that. Blood do be cooking on the tank. This has to be a turning point for Seoul Dynasty, where they dig in their heels and say that we refuse to have our 2023 season drop from our hands, have our joy turn to ash within our mouths after the smacking that they gave the Guangzhou Chargers. We thought, hey, they're going to come in warm. We're going to get ourselves a banger of a series, and I'm still dreaming of it. The Seoul Dynasty need to make it real.
Now the mind games can begin because the Dallasfield can come through in anything. They've shown the Sigma. They've shown they can win on the Sigma. They can show they can come back on the Sigma as well from a 0.99. As they defend first, Dynasty have first choice in terms of counter swaps. They will spot the Hanbin, Junker Queen. Krillin will go back towards the Ana. The Seoul Dynasty will have the matchup that they actually wanted and the matchup they actually prepared for at the start of the series.
This is the homework that's been done. What will be the differences in execution to try and make this different? Eichenwalde, of course, was knifed and managed to wait that one out. Dallasfield more than happy to try and out-rotate the Seoul Dynasty, given that they've got 2 layers of speed boost.
Well, you got to go in. They can't rotate. They actually cannot out-rotate the Seoul Dynasty. They have to be the ones to TP in and take this fight to them. You're not going to outpoke an Orisa as a Junker Queen. And here come the Seoul Dynasty start setting up. Should be Eichenwalde on the high ground. Let's see if he's managed to get there or not. Okay, they're all actually playing low ground together at the moment. This is fine for Dallasfield because now Edison can take the high ground instead.
Prophet thinking as small as possible, but big ideas coming through. Eichenwalde takes out Bliss. An attempt to appeal becomes a touch more bloody as Sparkle is taken out high, and Hanbin's going to be isolated here. Still with no cooldowns, Belos Ria has to just try and play this a touch further away. The carnage in the hands of Hanbin. That axe can be bloody brutal, and Edison managed to get one over on Eichenwalde. Still with all of these healers around, Seoul Dynasty slowly falling apart.
Well, we have the 2 tanks in their own separated 1v1 that leaves a 3v3 for everyone else to fight in, and Dallasfield winning that 3v3 even without Blitz. They have the extra damage because they have Edison and Sparkle plus MCD, whereas Seoul Dynasty, they're working with Eichenwalde, Krillin, Vindime. No Prophet. And despite ultimate stun to come online, Dynasty, no shot to use them. Part of the issue there for the Dynasty, in my opinion, was the fact that they made the long rotation to the back, but they did not set up on the high ground. They opened that up for Edison to take instead. Here comes the window.
Everyone leaps
Edison
through the Baptiste window here. Edison didn't see the damage coming. Oh, that little sliver of window there from Vindime gave it so much tactical flexibility. With that rampage
That'll be the cap.
Dallasfield, no chance to retouch here, I imagine.
Yeah, that was fast from the Seoul Dynasty. They didn't waste any time. Straight away, popped the window down aggressively. Seoul Dynasty even ran past their own window just to get Edison down, which is totally worth. That's what you need. But here comes the Sigma again for Hanbin. It's the swap. Dynasty were not able to handle on Lijiang Tower. Krillin's got a nano in play. He'll probably look to swap off, you'd hope anyway, away from the Ana after this. Most of what Ana can do gets blocked out by the Sigma, so not the most ideal pick. And on the defense as well for Dallas. This is a decent look because you got a lot of range to play through. You start on the high ground. It's Dynasty that have to do something about it to push you off.
Yeah, Bellows Rhea just continues pushing this cart around to an advantageous position. Seoul Dynasty have built up a considerable ultimate economy to try and remove Dallas Fuel from this area. It's a first level TP, not taking a direct battle, instead giving over a little bit more cover to Eichenwalde and maybe some chance to recover resources.
And look at this, Dallas Fuel also moved backwards, so it's going to be a very narrow bridge play as both teams will set up. Payloaders, actually no, they're going to probably TP. They're looking like they want to TP across to the high ground above Dallas Fuel. They're giving that up for now. A lot of options available. While Seoul Dynasty are deciding, it's just going to be Edison coming through. This could be huge. That's a lot of damage.
Small room, big pain, and even bigger now. Hello, that's a Bellows Rhea. Where did it come from? However, this play has had a worse end than the 1930s. Dallas Fuel destroy it.
It's one of those classic Terror Surge TP plays. Unfortunately, though, Dallas Fuel, they'll react. They have their own ultimates. Very difficult for Seoul Dynasty to TP around them to, as expected. Krillin will now swap over. Larry's fine. If you actually want to play for poke here, now your poke will definitely be stronger. Fuel have the better rotations with both Sim and Lucio, better defensive ultimates. I want to talk about offensive play. Krillin will have that unlocked. This is his map to play the Alari on. The difficulty for the Dynasty still is in rotations. Eichenwalde probably needs to open up this fight next. He has to play the artillery to dislodge Dallas Fuel, make them shuffle around on the high ground a little bit.
Defensive play here in conjunction with the wall. Eichenwalde never stood a chance. For support behind Edison is just too much. Still, Seoul Dynasty do squeak a couple of additional meters out of it. However, it's only a consolation prize as their time continues to dwindle.
And Dynasty can only counterplay that by having their own TP and ready. Is Krillin going to die here? No. Bliss needs to actually make sure he doesn't get called. That would be really bad for the Dallas Fuel. Now with Flux available, I mean, things just get tricky. Dynasty, if they TP into something, Humber can instantly Flux, and unless Bellasria can spear him into a wall and cancel it, Flux will destroy any sort of TP play available to the Dynasty. And I like the tempo from Fuel as well to say, look, if Dynasty are going to mess about and not play this game quickly, we will find the opening play first with an aggressive TP.
An artillery strike to try and turn this around, but TP has to be taken out first. Sparkle was just sitting on it. An uncharacteristic misplay from the Symmetra Savant, and this is going to leave Dallas Fuel with a real void of mobility to try and play with, as Bellows Rhea is going to wrap around behind. Vindine's been found out. Somehow they've been outmaneuvered again. It was only a speed boost from Bliss that was going to make it happen, but Seoul Dynasty, they were caught lacking, caught napping, and they've been made to pay.
Now they have to go towards the low ground. Dallas Fuel about to reconnect with their members. Dallas Fuel still holding high ground. They need to impact this payload, though. So they're going to TP down to low ground. It's Krillin's turn to ult. You can tell that Hanba wanted to block it out. Edison down. That's a huge amount of damage gone, but Dynasty are down too. Can they equalize? It's a 3 versus 3. Hanba goes off the map. That's what you're looking for from Bellows Rhea. Now he's about to hold the Terror Surge as well for any final contest, but there will not be one, and Bellows Rhea will push the payload down to C.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time that Bellows Rhea on this day of our Lord knocked a tank into that pit, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't that many, but it's weird when it happened twice. Excellent value coming through from the Orisa here, and now a Terror Surge.
You're going to contest there, and Spare Spin's just going to knock you straight down into the pit. Bliss has to save the day here if Dallas Fuel get into trouble.
Bellows Rhea isolated now. Still doesn't pop the Fortify. Maintaining composure as Seoul Dynasty all are surviving. Everything that came on forward still down a couple of resources. Bellows Rhea catching the business end of the minigun, and going to be catching the business end of Harmbit as well. This one is Jova.
All right, last minute. Still plenty to play through. Dallas Fuel, though, they have good ultimates for the end. Oh, they're going to try and push forward again. Krillin's going to be a little bit careful, but likely Fuel aren't going to get too aggressive. They don't have the same choke control power that they would have had with the Junkrat that we saw yesterday, so they're not going to try and just spawn camp the Seoul Dynasty as they were previously. But Dynasty's chance to finish this map is dwindling very quickly now. It'll be window versus window, but the extra sound barrier from Dallas Fuel is going to be the difference maker in that exchange.
Sound barrier in my hands of bliss. But Rocky on this team in a match full of so many legendary veterans, Prophet, Sparkle, Hanbin, names that have been through the annals of Overwatch history. Out comes the wall. This is going to isolate Belosria. It's a line that brings forth the artillery, and Sparkle caught by another javelin. Belosria is so good with these. Drag him away. That is a late sound barrier, my guy. It's only 2. Bliss thought he could save the day. All that he was saving was Seoul Dynasty's chances of finishing this one out.
Well, Dallas Fuel still have one last respawn, and they're going to get the respawn for the OT ticks, which means it's still quick. They're still going to have members. They're still got about 2 ultimates, and one of them is really good, unless Hanbin cops a spear to the face. So, have to watch out for that one. Can they beat the photon barrier, though? That could be tricky. Hanbin's diving and dodging. Belosria low. If they get rid of Belosria, then maybe Seoul Dynasty will be caught out. Lots of ultimates. Sunstrike on a couple of members as well, and they're going to do it. They're going to cap in OT, but they confirm it.
Oh, it's in OT. But we may well have a series, and this is what we were dreaming of, Avril. Easy Han back on form. 9 final blows to Edison's 10, but Edison does have that defensive advantage of being able to often dictate the pace of these plays. Now Dallas Fuel. Can they match this manner of offensive prowess? We know what they can achieve.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so he did land the spear. So he did actually get a cancel flux. Yeah. And then straight away, you thought that punish was enough. It is not. Extra punish coming on through. And you know what? Orisa solo carry. Belosria has been doing all play-ins and pretty much all the knockouts as well. That's the exact moment. You want to take the game into your own hands and you want to manifest destiny. Belosria will do that for you, the miracle worker of the Seoul Dynasty. Capitalizing as well on some subtle things from the Dallas Fuel. We'll talk about the late sound barrier coming through from Bliss. Sparkle gets sniped by another Belosria javelin. And that moment is when Dallas Fuel got to decide, do we 4-man beat now or not? If we don't beat, we should save it and just all reset. If we do, play it while 4 members are alive. Unfortunately, the decision comes in late. Hanbin's dead, and then it's a 3-man beat. Dallas Fuel.
I got some conjecture as well to continue our Belosria fan club. I think that he extended the I think that he extended the cast of Bliss's sound barrier by actually using the Terror Surge midway through his jump. And that may have given enough time for Hanbin to die.
I saw a stun marker come onto Bliss, but I'm not too sure what it was. So something definitely delayed him a little bit. In either case, Belosria got the opening pick onto Sparkle, and that's what cascaded Dynasty into a cap.
Alright, Seoul Dynasty continuing to leave behind the Iliari. Oh, Belosria went so far. Sparkle was happy to try and do the damage, but the rescue effort is good from Seoul Dynasty.
Prophet now coming back on towards the Echo. We've seen this every single defense they played so far, but can they stop Edison? It's BAP versus BAP with the immortality fields. Sparkle onto 2, Prophet down. Dallas Fuel, can they get more? 2 supports alive for the Seoul Dynasty. They'll get cleaned up.
Yeah, Krillin and Vindime playing on this crossfire doesn't mean they couldn't really help each other, even if they both had angles onto the Dallas Fuel. This is a rather quick take of A, which is going to give a lot of cushioning on the time bank to try and get through the fortress that is B.
After we Prophet off angling here as well. Krillin can't afford to do that when Sparkle's TP is right around the corner at any stage to catch him. No ultimates just yet. At least both Vindime and MCD are close enough that windows should be coming through at about the same time.
Windows waiting in the wings, but for now it's Sparkle and the burst mobility of a TP that might well decide how this fight goes. Seoul Dynasty confident with the Iliari that if they take a slow fight they will be successful in their endeavors. Much better poke coming out of the Orisa.
We go to set up Sparkle's choice. Where are we going, son, with this TP? So far, slow pushing from Hanbin. Just going to edge the payload forward for a little bit longer. Window onto the low ground. What can they see? Not great angling. I'm not really liking this window. It does allow Hanbin just to solo push the payload, but ultimately, you're not getting a lot of value, especially not when Bliss gets beamed down.
Yeah, I'm totally not digging that. Easy to just back away for the Seoul Dynasty. And now coming in from back, these stickies could be everything. Edison, though, he's tracking, Edison. He's smacking, he's making sure that all of the Seoul Dynasty are feeling the business end of this one. Hanbin, yes, going to be the one picking up the final blows, but what a play from the entirety of Dallas Fuel.
Well, we didn't like the MCD window that much, but how about Dallas Fuel just 4v5 into Vindime's window? They run past, they say, what double damage? You ain't got none. Edison blows up the Seoul Dynasty with Hanbin leading the charge, and now aggressive positionings at the end of B. Dallas Fuel. The decision making here, really nicely played.
Krillin wants more open this one up. Might well find themselves in a bad duel. Yes, they do. Edison's actually TP'd on top of Krillin. Oh no, it's a bad hook. Doesn't work out. Velos Rhea charging up as much as possible, but the Immortality Field is all that they find. Chasing around. Oh, it's like the times of old. Double shield is returning, but the Orisa just doesn't have the staying power. Going through the window with the Sunstruck. There's not enough to try and make it work. Sparkle's going to blow up. Edison exploding as well, but with MCD behind him, it should be enough. Still, Easyhan going to slowly float down. Easyhan by himself. Prophet can't get there in time, surely. But Hanbin just gets kill after kill. It's final blows for days.
Yeah, so all about Hanbin at the end of that fight. Good effort from Prophet to try and hold on. Krillin coming through from spawn with the Captain Sun as well. Note that Krillin died early in the original contest for B. Had to come through from spawn on the ultimate. Catches a couple members. They blow up one. But Edison is just way too healed up to be dead to the Captain Sun. And now it's Prophet down next. Seoul Dynasty have to defend for so long. Look at the time. We've got over 4 minutes from the Dallas Field. You have to imagine they can finish the map, and with a good time as well.
Oh, they are going to be finishing the map, I imagine.
Up and low.
Easyhan. Surely they got to kill Hanbin here. He's so low, but the healing is too good from the Dallas Field. Almost 4 minutes on the clock.
They got the grasp as well, so not going to damage through that. This could be a monstrous time bank. We are looking at the potential of a strong 2-0 start on the Dallas Field. One last Photon Bat with a Flux. You can even Flux 9 this final point as well. No damage coming through for the window because Hanbin just charges it down with the kinetic grasp. He's even going to just solo ult Eastgon. Why not? Kill them all. Bliss with the sound barrier. It's all Dallas Field. Blue in the kill feed. And a giant time bank, 326-0 on the Seoul Dynasty, which means Seoul play for a draw-only scenario. It is nightmare for the Seoul Dynasty. Another situation where Eichenwalde, their best map, is slipping away from them.
Like I said, Hanbin, he's the cynosure. He is the object of admiration. And you can see exactly why. This guy is domineering. Not a single centimeter, no, not even a plank length of space is given over when this guy is on the Sigma. And not only that, this is going to be the second different tank that he's potentially dominated the Seoul Dynasty on. Yesterday he did it basically all with the Junker Queen, but this guy has it all. Apart from a Winston, but that's okay.
He's not going to need it. We're not going to see another Winston meta. He's not going to need it. Dallas Fuel have paid the bribe over to Team 4 to finally get the patch they're looking for. Now the only step remains is to close out the series, punch their ticket to Toronto. And out comes the Hanbin Zarya 4 playoff. Seoul Dynasty, though, this is not how they want their season to end. Not when they've had such a resurgent run at the bottom half of the year, with Belis Rhea, Orisa carrying the way through, but you're seeing another Seoul Dynasty Classic where one man carrying is not going to be enough, and now Seoul Dynasty have to do it all on this defense. Can they full hold? It's going to have to be a monstrous full hold because only one tick is required from the Dallas Field.
Playoff Prophet has to be delivered early in attempt to try and catch him out, and it's successful. Ah, he's gone. The hit scan of Edison. Steady Eddie on the sticks, just too good. Goodbye to the Immortality Field. Goodbye to the Seoul Dynasty. Goodbye to Eichenwalde. And hello to match point for the Dallas Fuel. This was an absolute clapping.
It's looking all blue today. Sky is out. No clouds whatsoever. Blue skies for the Burn Blue team, and for Seoul Dynasty, once again, it's all about the rain. It is not looking good at all. That was not how it was supposed to go for the Seoul Dynasty. They finished the map. They clutched out in OT. Belis Rhea saves the day to cap through B, get the opening spear kill on the Sparkle. He did it all. And then Dallas will just say, well, how about a 3-minute something 20 time bank? And Seoul Dynasty got nothing to work through. And now they are facing a 0-2 series. They got a reverse sweep. And they've only got a few maps left to play through. We'll see what happens after this break. There's darkest before the dawn here for Seoul Dynasty, as it's certainly looking dark right now in terms of their playoffs hopes. They have to reverse sweep the entire series, and we're going to go to Flashpoint to try and get it done here. The good news for the Dynasty is highly unlikely that the Dallas Fuel are going to continue playing Sigma on New Junk City, when this is a map that requires speed. You got to get around quickly. You got to be brawling in close spaces. So Junker Queen probably the ideal pick for Harmon once again. But even if the Seoul Dynasty can take away this map in New Junk City, you still got the rest of the series to go through. That is only the beginning of the mountain that the Seoul Dynasty have to climb, because the Dallas Fuel, they're getting ready. They're about to book their tickets. They're one map away from victory.
Yeah, you know things are dire when the good news is that they're going to go back to the comp that they previously 3-0'd you on, rather than the comp that they're currently 3-0'ing you on. So, yeah, optimism. I love it. Seoul Dynasty, I'm hoping. I want myself a banger of a series here, even if it's just off personal greed, Avril. You can see it right now. Few smiles in the Seoul Dynasty camp. The dream of a double Seoul at the Toronto playoffs is slowly slipping away, or rather, rapidly falling away. All that stands between Seoul Dynasty and Oblivion.
Well, the problem is you have to consult the script writers, and well, Dallas Fuel, as last season's champions, they got to be at the playoffs to defend their title, right? That's what the writers want to do.
Surely, guys.
So, you know, if this was an anime, this is probably meant to be the result. But for Seoul Dynasty, they're trying to prevent that from happening right now. They still got a good chance to make it happen. But, yeah, when you think about yesterday's games as well, it's starting to become hard to imagine that scenario, because Dynasty couldn't beat the Junker Queen yesterday, and they're not currently beating the Sigma today either. It's been difficult for the Dynasty to find a winning matchup, and this is the worst part, Leg Day. Yesterday's match on the Flashpoint, sure, it was Suravasa, but it wasn't close, man. That was the most one-sided map of all the entire series. At least Eichenwalde and Lijiang were close yesterday. They were competitive today, although Lijiang was a 2-0 today instead of a 2-1. You better hope for Seoul's sake that New Junk City goes better for them than Suravasa did yesterday.
Well, it's a new map. We have discussed before that these are effectively just cosmetic choices. We haven't seen a huge difference in overall metas between these two flashpoints. But we'll hope that maybe Seoul Dynasty can recover some of their mojo on this one, sticking to the tried and true. But now, of course, with the Lucia for that additional speed that is mandatory on the flashpoint.
Well, if Dallas Fuel can make it work, then they'll just take away the series regardless. Like I said earlier, it almost doesn't really matter whether they play the Queen or the Sigma, because they've won them both at this point. Maybe they'll continue winning on both. Early TPN, and Krillin is just caught. Edison finds him instantly.
Ain't no plot armor here, boys. Blasted into the TP, yes, but it's only going to prolong the inevitable for profit. Fellow Surya has to charge into the midst of everyone and is beaten down from all sides with sticks, stones, and whatever else can break the bones of Arista.
Well, the problem is only one team has a plot armor, and all 5 members of the Dallas Fuel are wearing it comfortably right now. What a play. Directly TP onto a player from the Seoul Dynasty just to get them caught, and Balestria is going to go over towards the Queen. They've given up on the Arista. They say if Harmon can play the Queen, then maybe we're going to do it too. The Dynasty got to do something. As for the first 2 maps, it hasn't been working out. And honestly, I respect it, because now they're no longer in just a pitch to poke battle. Dynasty can get aggressive, get into the backline. Sigma, notoriously not amazing for defending the backline. Unless you hit a run.
Unbelievable cancel there on the Carnage. That would have hit multiple players. Easy Hunt falling low. There's going to be the shield as well. Sparkle's decided that this is their fight to win. And indeed, he's correct in his assumptions. The calculus is strong, and so too is the damage. Dallas Fuel sweep away with Seoul Dynasty.
That's the first cap gone. You'll know it. They're exiting. Dynasty can't really contest anymore. Not with this percentage remaining. And guess what? For the opening of the next, you're going to have a bunch of ultimates. Even out of spawn, Seoul Dynasty are not safe. Oh, we're going to take a flux right now. That's just going to instantly kill Profit.
Ooh, the initial lift damage. Bit of a rarity. Generally only happens if there's a major lapse in healing, and Krillin was also picked up by that one. So this is going to be an easy first cap here, or at least a first position for the Dallas
problem
Fuel.
is Dallas win that one so quickly, and it cost them an ultimate. The Dynasty now get to come back in for a contest before the point is unlocked. So yeah, I guess it's not great the Dynasty died there, but considering an ult was used, it's not the worst deal for Dynasty either. You kind of take that.
Alright, a battle of the windows, and Belos Ria's got nowhere to go but straight to Tartarus. Moving over through multiple circles of hell, and Avernus shall say hello. Wave to Karlak for me. Sparkle. Surely not a turret bomb. That'd be a little bit cheesy. This is anybody's fight still. Not too much damage here. Sparkle is going to be overrun with just the right-click poke. It wasn't enough to try and take down the massive healing that Seoul Dynasty had with both Krillin and Vindime still alive.
Edison gone there was the biggest deal. Without your Bastion, you're going to lose that poke damage to Eichenwalde. The Seoul Dynasty can play it slowly. Eichenwalde catches up big there. Harbin, he accepts the duel. It's going to be Junker Queen on Junker Queen now. Seoul Dynasty did well to win the window trade there. Let's see how much further they can take this. It is going to be Sparkle coming online with the Photon Barrier, but Belos Ria has a Rampage. Bliss can block that out with the Sound Barrier. So, ideally, Belos Ria is not going to have too much impact here.
TP used. Multiple players might well be caught by this. Bliss tries to wall ride away, but it still keeps him within that little puddle of damage. Dallas Fuel, they are just going to have to poke here until Bliss comes back. Surely they're not going to try and play this one without the Sound Barrier.
I mean, no, they have to wait, but the problem then is you're going to Final Fight territory. Seoul Dynasty have pushed this one about to be 80. Vindime's also got an ultimate now, so Dynasty are starting to equalize. What they don't have is a Photon Barrier. The Photon Barrier is good.
Oh, the destruction on that instant. Nice turnaround in midair. Belos Ria, does he have another hero in the pool is the question. The window's going to complicate matters here for the Seoul Dynasty, but it gives Hanbin double damage, and you know the boy do be feasting. You dare to step up to my throne, you'll only collapse from it. You can't handle the weight of the crown. It lies heavy upon my head.
Dallas Fuel had a lot more to play through. The extra window drop from MCD as well to put that damage through. Now Sparkle back on a Genji. Of all heroes, might just want to be coming back quick, but actually the sim was pretty useful, especially for getting Edison around the map. Next fight, though, if you do want to beat the fact that Prophet has a Photon Barrier available, Genji's not a bad look for it. Edison might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Wall is going to make things a little bit weird. Still good evasion there of the artillery. Edison drops on down here. Going to be a huge source of damage, but having to dodge away from the double damage of the Eichenwalde Bastion turret form is going to be a touch too much, and this one should go the way of Seoul Dynasty with only remnants of Dallas Fuel remaining.
That's the different stat, having both a wall and a window at the same time. Edison can't contest that whatsoever. So Dynasty get to cash in on the successes they had for that Ducks point and the 99-0. We'll lock it out with a return to the point. But as we move through, I mean, we're getting closer and closer to just playing classic Jotes matchup, which does include the Kiriko, which does include the Genji. Edison, I think, probably should be on the Sojin instead, but he's going to play the Echo, which is not one of his normal heroes.
3 players hit by the Rampage, but Hanbin not in a position to try and finish them off. Not going to be any fatalities from Red either. Sparkle chased down, but it's actually Belos Ria, who's surrounded by multiple members of the Dallas Fuel. They collapsed upon the lone tank, and while Sparkle is going to be a victim for it, maybe the damage has already been done. You can't control the space when you've got Hanbin as the single tank in this refinery, ready to claim all and sundry.
Dallas Fuel make that one look easy. And now with their somewhat new composition, they're going to get into ultimates as well. They want to get this lead on New Junk City. Not a lot of the Dynasty can work through the moment. They're going to have to play this one slow to get the rest of their ultimates. Photon Barrier will be decent here, but now that there's no Bastion on board, I don't think Dallas Fuel care as much about the Photon Barrier from Prophet as they would have previously. They want to wrap around and get into the back lines.
Time not as common a luxury. Edison didn't get the Sound Barrier, and now it's Sparkle's turn to try and make something of the blade. Can't choose a target though. No nano, no barrier for him after it all dissipates at the hands of Bliss, and that was an expensive fight for Dallas to lose.
And Vindime didn't even have to use the barrier for that either. Belos Ria pops a single Rampage which only catches Sparkle, but it's enough to shut down the blade. That's part of the reason why the blade wasn't valuable. It just gets purple straight away, under 50% HP, and had to play that one super defensively. It says a lot that Seoul Dynasty didn't really have to use too much else. Dallas Fuel, they wanted to get aggressive. They got to the back lines, cycled all the way to the back end of the Seoul Dynasty, but it was Dallas that ended up in the meat grinder.
Teleporter available. Kitsune Rush goes on down, but the ball's going to block off a bunch of the damage that's coming on through. Bliss super low and Sparkle having to dodge over to cover as well. So Dallas Fuel take themselves a little bit of cover. Nice boot there from Vindai. Might actually deny a rampage. It's a turnaround from Hanbin. He read the Teleporter so well, but the artillery strike might well take away his life. Wanting to take Krillin with him, slowly bleeding out with the auspices of the knife, and not even music can save him. But still, it might be enough to save the Seoul Dynasty. Dallas Fuel so low on personnel, it's going to be real difficult to touch.
They can't contest. They have to go to the next point when it unlocks at this stage. It's too far gone. Sound barrier for Vindime is going to be enough. Hanbin on 2 low HP. They're going to swap the comp back. They were slowly, as I mentioned, moving towards the Queen versus Queen comp, which includes the Kiriko, Sojin, the Genji, etc. Honestly, Dallas is just so much better at playing the Bastion. They know how to TP properly. They know how to get Edison into good positions. Edison's been frying on the Bastion, so go back to what's been working. Because they're actually now trailing in this New Junk City map. Seoul Dynasty find map point here. One more required. And Dallas with a brand new swap sword. They're going to be behind on ultimates.
One more point and Seoul are back in this series. Back alive with the hope of going to Toronto. An early engagement here. Moving in with the right click. Edison's already dead. Excellent target priority. The Immortality Field was simply too late to respond to the massive damage coming forth from a window of Krillin. And Dallas Fuel are sent scarpering into the hills.
They're getting ult cycled here. Dynasty constantly have a brand new ultimate online that is going to be a game changer every single fight. Fuel are waiting for it. Right now, Dynasty are kind of fresh out, so there is a window of opportunity where it is going to be a raw neutral. Nobody's got anything. What a huge nade from Eichenwalde. That caught 3 members and took a bunch down at half HP. Eichenwalde's about to find this artillery now. I mean, just off that nade, he's just been destroying the Dallas Fuel HP bars.
Just slowly chunking them down. That's going to be an engagement here with the extra green health coming through from the commanding shout. Eichenwalde's already fallen down, so that artillery will not be a factor. An attempt to try and cap it out from under their noses from Edison. It does work out, even if he does pay his life for it. With Krillin still alive, this could be anybody's game, but looks like a reset off the edge here, potentially. Or maybe it should be, as Belos Ria decides that discretion is the better part of valor.
Well, Fuel already capped the point, so there's nothing there to play for Belos Ria. Doesn't want to stagger himself. Hanbin, he's going to get taxi back from spawn. And another brilliant TP into getting Eichenwalde down. Eichenwalde could have been a difference maker there, but they're not even going to give him the chance to pull through the artillery. Dallas Fuel strike first. This is why you want to see Dallas Fuel play the sim, because they are so effective in these TP rotations. And hard choices for Seoul Dynasty to make. Do you bother using ultimates with Eichenwalde down? Most of your damage is gone.
Control the fight and you control the game. Wall and artillery, but not going to be coming up with any frags just yet. It's answered by Sparkle. An MCD with a window as well, but remember, Krillin's going to have his own halfway through this fight, and that could cause some real trouble. Edison with his own artillery. Hanbin just drags through everybody with the rampage. Antes for days. Belos Ria is going to force out a sound barrier from Bliss to answer this rampage, but I think that Seoul Dynasty may well have invested their entire piggy bank and got nothing.
Yep. While Krillin dying so early just means the Seoul Dynasty don't have one of the most important tools for that engagement, which requires them to have a window advantage. MCD already used that matrix earlier. Didn't find a lot out of it.
Spawn.
And then for Seoul Dynasty, they would have been able to pop through on Krillin's ultimate, find positioning off that, and get a lot of work done. You talked about spawns. Dallas Fuel will easily get there first. Still plenty of time before the point unlocks. The Seoul Dynasty better hope that this window pays dividends, because they need an early good start here for the final point.
9 ults of a fight previous means that 1 remains, and that's in the hands of Krillin. They need this initial ultimate to try and make things work. It does strike pay dirt. Edison's behind.
Edison
Still manages to win out on this one. How's he getting away with this? It's an absolute mess, a travesty for Seoul Dynasty. They can't leverage the window at all. Dallas Fuel are just too fast.
Well, they were able to rotate around. I mean, this is what the TP can do for you. Edison got the off angle. Eichenwalde, he was shooting through the window, but the threats were coming from behind instead. So Fuel read the play correctly, and they countered it just as perfectly. With minimal losses there, MCD needs to get taxied, which gives Dynasty a little bit of time to find positioning. They're going to get onto the point. Fuel don't have anything to contest with so far. They got to get Hanbin in, but he can't walk up.
Oh, that's a huge flip.
Yeah,
Unbelievable flip.
Fuel had to, they had to taxi MCD, so they exited the point.
Yep, that all came down to a late kill from Belos Ria as well. MCD has returned, and Edison now doing all the damage he wants. And touch more on top of that. Almost of the artillery. Prophet just sheepishly poking out, making sure those photon orbs hit pay dirt. Needing to move on to the point here. Bellows Rear going to be the victim maybe of the artillery strike, but in the end all it grabs is going to be an immortality field. Edison certainly going to be public enemy number one, and Miss Knife is not ideal here as Sparkle might well be chased down. Trying to play the shield in an attempt to survive, but Bellows Rear is taking damage from all angles. The rampage on top of it all. A refusal to die, a refusal to bow, a refusal to kneel for the Dallas Fuel as they'll steal this away from the Seoul Dynasty.
Speaking of theft, though, Dynasty had the cap. You have to remember, this is a flip for the field. They lost the point. So, yes, they won, but Dynasty still lead. It's not quite a victory for Field yet. They got to win one more, and that was costly as well. Dynasty didn't really have to put too much there. They got 2 more ults coming online. Prophet now with the swap over towards the Genji. He knows that he can snowball this one with the Genji alone. He already used a photon barrier earlier, and it's just a sound barrier for Bliss.
Trying to dash through everyone, ideally. Bliss not tempted into using this early, using the sound barrier too late! 2 of the DPS are dead, but can Hanbin do it all alone? Surely not. Prophet gets dash reset after dash reset. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy for the go. Guys, kill Bliss. Guys?
They have the touch as well. Okay, there's the flip. It's too hard to kill. That's fine, though. But you see what the artillery strike does? It splits off the Dallas fields. Dallas went into different directions. 4 members decided to go forward. Bliss ended up going backwards, and because he went backwards, he wasn't connected with the team. And by the time the sound barrier was there, Fuel had already committed, and Edison's already down for the next fight. This could be Dynasty now, locking things out. A sound barrier to finish things off as well. And Fuel down to 3 members. They got barely anything to work through. Harmden on the Desperation Doom is not going to be enough, and the Seoul Dynasty are not done yet.
I paid for 1 map delivery on my playoffs Prophet, and I've bloody well got it. Seoul Dynasty won't be 3-0'd again. On New Junk City, they will ascend to the throne off the back of Bellows Rear playing Hanbin's signature hero in the Junker Queen versus Junker Queen. We have ourselves a map 4, and I could not be more stoked.
That is a interesting way to make that comeback happen as well, because for Dallas Fuel, they thought they had it with the Sigma early on into the Orisa. They know that's a winning matchup for them in Seoul Dynasty, and we were wondering what was going to be the change. Was there going to be any change? Turns out it was the Junker Queen from Bellows Rear instead. No Void required in this matchup. Bellows Rear just won the mirror versus Hanbin. Seoul Dynasty are still alive in the series. Let's see if they can win push as well after this break. Series has opened up with the Seoul Dynasty taking New Junk City, taking us now to a map 4. Good to see a push in the Dynasty versus Fuel Series. Didn't get to see that last time. It was a 3-0. Dynasty saying no. Let's start the reverse sweep. Let's get it going.
What a legendary time it would be. I ordered playoffs Prophet. We're not quite there yet, but he has arrived on New Junk City. As he checks out his hair in the mirror. You're looking good, son. Both on the field and off the field, but can you maintain this pace for push? As this is Dallas Fuel's pick, and of course they're going to go to Esperanza, where they're able to TP up onto those high grounds and truly control them once again. And it feels like Dallas Fuel may have kind of overcooked it a little bit, had their own little kitchen nightmare when they went Genji Echo, trying to beat their own composition from the Seoul Dynasty.
And on Esperanza, I mean, you can do the Junker Queen versus Junker Queen again. It's actually kind of fine for both teams. Is it going to be back over towards more Orisa for the side of the Seoul Dynasty? I think it might. They'll start on the Orisa most likely, and then if it doesn't work out, I foresee the Junker Queen once more. The real question will be, what does the Fuel start out on? If they start out on their own Sigma, then they're going to be in a little bit of trouble if Valkyria is then on the Junker Queen. We're into very interesting mind games now, because Hanbin doesn't want to play Sigma into Queen. But I don't know that Seoul Dynasty necessarily want to play Orisa into Sigma anymore, so they have to kind of out-comp each other, and possibly we might end up on another Queen versus Queen mirror for Esperanza.
And we would expect on paper for Dallas Fuel to kind of run away with that. They're the team that's been exploiting this composition the most, and it's so well suited to their individual talents, but Dynasty managed to pull one away. Maybe this is the secret sauce that Belosria was talking about, pulling out the Queen? It would be certainly strange to try and match someone of Hanbin's legendary tier on the Queen with Belosria, who's had very little competitive time on the Queen. But hey, if it works, it works, and I can't say that that map was not legitimate. It was a real clutch up.
He actually spent more time in the summer stage playing Junker Queen than Orisa. It was only recently in the knockouts that the Orisa started to come through more often for the Seoul Dynasty, so kind of going back to where it all started for the Seoul Dynasty in summer, although all the people that remember those early days of the summer stage also remember that it wasn't a good look for the Seoul Dynasty at that particular time. It's much better now, though. They're going to have to hope that it is much better still, because Fuel know what's up now. Both teams realize, okay, might as well just go with the Queen. If I start Sigma here, I'm at risk of being potentially countered by the Queen, soft counter in terms of comp. Belosria also doesn't want to just start on the Orisa, might as well just start on the Queen instead. Opening TV's coming through. Edison looking for easy hunt, he's got him.
Check out that combination as well. Taking the knife into someone to stick them, and then taking the TP afterwards to pull them towards the Bastion cannon. That is an absolutely gnarly bit of synergy that Dallas Fuel have got.
That's the thing, right? Once you end up in these Queen mirrors, Dallas Fuel should know all the tricks of the trade. This is their specialty. And it's a pure mirror as well, with the Sim and the Bastion, which is, I think, Fuel's preferred way to play this matchup. Although they wouldn't shy away that much from being on Genji or Sojin either. They can certainly do that, and they have shown that in the past.
TP to control the high ground. Belosria showing the ground who's boss, going for the Carnage. It's a couple. Remember, that does keep the cooldown low. Pulled in is Edison. That does mean it's easy to overwhelm. What a knife from Belosria, and Bliss is the next one to feel the wrath of Gracie. A bot stolen on the run. Hanbin's still doing some guerrilla warfare in the back here, but Easy Han at range should be able to poke them down real easy.
A little bit of late damage coming through. Prophet trying to farm up his photon barrier. What's stalled out? Dynasty got to make some movements here. They got to start pushing. Not expecting a flip straight away, but you cannot just allow Fuel to regroup quickly here. You need to be making some early ground.
They get on top of you faster than you know. Already behind, that's a beautiful wall there coming through, but still not fast enough to have saved Sparkle, and MCD double damage just evaporates the photon barrier. It may be hard light, but it's softening now.
I don't even know that Krillin needed to pop that. Seoul Dynasty wanted the insurance policy. They had a 5v3, so possibly they could have just saved Krillin's ultimate for another fight, especially to match MCD a little bit later on. It'll be purely Prophet's job to do that now, but Photon Barrier only buys you limited time versus double damage Bastion through the window. It's going to be TP. Waiting for the ultimate. Edison gets a kill straight away.
Yeah, Krillin being down. Oh, Belos Rhea. Did Rampage get that much? Yes, both Edison and Hunbin are going to be antied. Rampage is trying to escape Belos Rhea. Hunbin was feeling pretty optimistic with that one, my guy.
That's an escape tool Rampage if I've seen one. That's a I'm getting the hell out of here Rampage.
That's an I'm dipping Rampage, boys.
It certainly is, and he might not even make it out, huh? But it's still potentially in dire straits. Low HP, but with Edison to back him up. The rest of the team arriving. Fuel of mate. I think Harmon should have just died. That was not worth an ultimate just to escape.
Oh, man must have thought, hey, I could out Junker Queen Belos Rhea, right, guys?
Belos Rhea annihilated Fuel in that fight. That was insane, actually.
Man, do be going crazy. Maybe that's the difference maker. It wasn't a good look earlier in the summer stage, but now Vindime and Easy Han have been so well integrated into this. Easy Han chased down by the artillery strike, but good evasion. And still, this bot do be moving, and this is going to have disabled a forward spawn for Seoul Dynasty, but they're just thinking about their next fight right here. Looking for the artillery strike. MCD got isolated. Belos Rhea just shakes them down. What happened, boys?
And now Harmon's gone as well. Dynasty, they take the payload back, and now they can cap. It's just Edison and a couple last members, but they're going to go... Wait a minute. Okay, that's a couple of extra deaths on Dynasty that is not comfortable at all. Losing double supports does suck. It's going to slow Krillin down, but... Guys, get the payload. Please cap. Seoul Dynasty. This is your moment to cap.
They're just not touching it. Okay.
It's a free cap, fellas. It would have been a free cap because Dallas Fuel were not there, and the payload is like a meter away from capping if they just shoved.
This would be
interesting decision from Dynasty. I'll say that much.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious. A TP towards the back. Who expects it this time? Certainly not Edison, certainly not Sparkle. The payload has been moved again, though. Surely this time Seoul Dynasty will remember that it exists. But Thursday got to remember all about Hunbin, and despite 2 supports at his back, no amount of healing can get through this damage.
It's crazy to say this, but Seoul Dynasty are currently, touch wood, Seoul Dynasty are currently winning the Junker Queen mirror, which is not something you thought anyone could beat the Dallas Fuel on. The Dynasty just say lock in, and it's not even. Oh, that would be full circle. It's not even Void playing this either, because you would expect, oh, surely Void would be the Junker Queen playing. No, it's going to be Belos Rhea. Guys locked in. He's locked in for all heroes. There's not really easy, at this stage. I don't know if there's
map as well.
There's nothing that he can't play at the moment. It seems like everyone on the Seoul Dynasty is currently popping off. Dallas Fuel copping losses on every start of the fight. They have ultimates, so both teams, in fact, do have ultimates. Sparkle went down to 1, my goodness.
Yeah, forced to respond to that using the barrier, and that means easy charge up here for Prophet. He can come straight in with full damage, but that's a lot more damage than you'd expect. Oh, double through the window with the tank form. This is but a flesh wound, says Belos Rhea, but it might well be more than that in the end. Still, Seoul Dynasty do hold control of the cart for about a second longer. Bliss feeling a little bit frisky here, and is going to be able to steal it away by dragging Seoul Dynasty into the caverns below. Hunbin free to farm now, as there will be a little bit more progress for Dallas Fuel.
Dallas Fuel can threaten the cap here as well, because Seoul Dynasty are not going to get the forward spawns. They lost their entire team as well. Looking good on the distance here, honestly. Belos Rhea melting was the catalyst for that fight win for Dallas Fuel. Belos Rhea thought he could tank it up. He walked in, and MCD laid out the trap for him. Edison springs it, and Belos Rhea is snatched.
Attempt to stop the cap. It is Belos Rhea who moves forward yet again. He wanted to stop the cap, but he's got no friends behind him because he was isolated by Edison's artillery strike. And now Dallas Fuel can strike Payda and get themselves the lead once more.
Yep, they'll have the cap, they'll have the flip. And in position now for Dallas to get more. This is the distance that actually counts.
Oh, Sparkle picked early. There's no way, my guy. They've been completely outmaneuvered. Artillery strike as well. No one going to be dragged into it by the Junker Queen knife, but the bot do be moving, and that means that Dallas Fuel, they've got to get chasing.
Fuel, you got to start moving. Let's see them schmooves get back to the payload, because it's run away from you.
But Prasad used the TP to actually rejoin the team here. And Awizian's got himself a nice angle onto Edison. It's a battle of the tracks. That's going to be a lovely little rampage coming through from Belos Rhea. But Hunbin could just as easily match it. All players given the purple. No healing for anybody. But now, once it wears away, it's MCD on his Overlook who can stare upon his land and say everything the light touches belongs to the Fuel.
Yeah, well done there. Belastria nearly got it done for the Seoul Dynasty, but Hanbin comes back with his own rampage, and it is successful. Alongside the surviving Dallas Fuel members. Those scary moments though. Sparkle dying early. Bot being stolen away. Dallas Fuel having to recontest. Potentially momentarily with 4 there. While they relink with Sparkle. Now the window being dropped from MCD.
Comes out of nowhere. It's a storm summoned by Zeus. Lightning bolts striking everywhere. And just like lightning, don't need to strike twice. Once is more than enough.
Here comes the triple digits. I'm feeling it. Really depends on how quickly Seoul Dynasty can come back towards this fight. Prophet's still 5 away from his ult as well, so yeah, he really needs it for the recontest. And you can see, even from Harbin's POV, Dynasty are just too far off. And with the artillery strike to slow them down, it's gonna be 100.
Oh, Prophet was pulled into it. You can see the knife assist there from Hanbin, and it's just kill after kill for the queen of the queens. Still, yes, the bot has been stolen by Belastria, but that don't really help out your team that much in this case, bud.
This could be it. 1 minute 30 left. Dallas Fuel have a commanding lead, and they're just going to push it even further. Double distance now for the Seoul Dynasty to get anything done, and it was a Hanbin knife pull in through artillery. And despite Belastria's best efforts to get Edison down, which at least that was successful, the rest of the Dynasty fall apart around him, and now the late swaps.
A new tank, a new tail. Belastria looking for victims, punches Edison out of an artillery strike. Excellent heal there from my guy, and Prophet not going to be getting any of that as Hanbin easily chases it on down. Dallas Fuel have got their foot on the gas, and this is the premium fuel.
They're looking like they're going to finish the entire map at this stage. There's not much left for the Dynasty. Belastria is going to get staggered out here. There's still a rampage. There's less than 1 minute to play through. You got a long range window for M-City. This is the moment we can start feeling really damn good about the Dallas Field. They're about to reach the final point. 3 meters, 4 meters left to go through. Krillin wants to contest. He'll get the ult before MCD. 3-man rampage. Many members caught, many members down. Dallas Field, they're looking at Toronto. They know it's theirs. A couple of members there for the Seoul Dynasty to slow things down. But Dallas Field are gonna be the 3rd team out of APAC to join the rest of NA in Toronto.
A collect call from Canada, and Dallas Fuel are going to accept the charges. It's such a sad time for the Seoul Dynasty, but Dallas Fuel, as reigning champions, needed to be there to defend their title. And not only that, they are looking forward to a meta shakeup as well. They dream of a Zarya meta. They dream of the bubble bath in which Hanbin can soak his DPS. Edison can return to the Reaper. Sparkle can return to the Genji. And Dallas Fuel can potentially once again ascend those gilded steps to the heavy throne where they sat once before.
Something, soul to the earth, 3-1 Overwatch, never doubted. As I'm sure the Dallas Fuel fans are starting to feel a little bit frisky when the Junker Queen matchup wasn't going well for them, but the later the map went, the better it got for the Fuel. And the Dallas Fuel will deliver in the play-ins. You felt like they were strong enough to do it in the knockouts. They were disappointed by their 2 losses to the Hangzhou Spark, but they return with ease in 2 wins versus the Seoul Dynasty, and the man that got it done has been Hanbin. Always been, always will be.
The king of the queens. Hanbin took up the torch of taking that mirror and decided to run with it, but also today excelling on the Sigma. We haven't even seen any Zarya yet, but that's what we've come to expect. When it comes to these off-tanks, Hanbin is second to none. And in this lobby, the same can be said. Player of the match so many times it feels like. And often Hanbin can just pull a victory out of the hat. In these clutch situations, no one does it like the man on your screen.
It was a Sigma today, man. I think the Sigma was the secret sauce that the Dallas Fuel needed. Chef Rush put the hat on, and you got the boys in the kitchen, and it looked good. Not gonna lie, the Sigma really put the Orisa down, and the Orisa was truly so good for the side of Seoul Dynasty. And without the Orisa to be able to push the Seoul Dynasty forward, as it has been in previous series, once that is taken out of the equation, Fuel know that they can still beat the Dynasty in the Junker Queen matchup. Yes, it did lapse a little bit on New Junk City, but things happen on Flashpoint. Where Fuel is strong, where they've always been strong, is the flashpoint. Fuel, just simply don't lose that game mode.
Now, when it comes to these long-term plans, that's where Seoul Dynasty always know what's best. I'm seeing myself some Sigma highlights. It feels like for so long we've only really seen Sigma on Circuit Royale. He was a specialist hero, but recently, over the last couple of months, we've seen some rogue Sigmas here and there, and they always come out at weird times and forcing enemies to adapt to them, and it was not a quick adaptation coming through until map 3 for Seoul Dynasty, when they finally realized they could try and mirror that Junker Queen kind of prowess, and you know what? Hanbin's happy to take that build.
The problem with the Seoul Dynasty doing that is, how long can you really keep that up for? You are still up against the Dallas Fuel, who have far more practice on that composition. And unfortunately, one map was all it was going to last. It was a good effort, man. It's the Dallas Fuel's player of the match for Hanbin, who played phenomenally in this series when plenty of player of the matches have been going to the DPSs, namely Edison's been fantastic in this series and this tournament and the knockouts in general. But if there was an award for play-ins MVP, is that a real thing? Dallas 3 has been phenomenal as well. Really need to give that guy a shout out. Hanbin got it done today. But part of the only reason that Seoul Dynasty have even been competitive at this late stage in the tournament is because of the Orisa. But not good enough to beat the Sigma, not good enough to beat Hanbin, not good enough to beat the Dallas Fuel, who, as discussed, as celebrated, will be our third and final team from the East, joining the North in the playoffs. So let's go ahead and get the interview.
안녕하세요, 스파클 선수.
Hello, Sparkle.
네, 플레인
Hello,
마지막
hello.
매치를 마침내 이겨내면서 플레이오프에 진출하셨습니다. 델러스 퓨얼 정말 감회가 남다르실 것 같은데요. 승리 소감
You have
먼저
overcome the
부탁드릴게요.
final hurdle and Dallas punched their ticket to playoffs. How do you feel?
어제 경기를 해보면서 약간 힘의 차이가 느껴져가지고 오늘 이길 거라는 확신은 있었는데 그래도 생각보다 힘들게 이겨가지고.
After the match yesterday, we definitely thought that we were at the higher power level and we thought we were very confident to win. However, today's match was a little bit more difficult than I anticipated, so I'm really happy that we got the win in the end.
말씀을 하셨는데 오늘 가장 힘들었던 부분이 뭘까요?
So you did say today was a bit of a struggle. What was the most difficult part of today?
우리 상황은 저희가 쉽게 이겼는데 그 3세트부터 갑자기 저희랑 똑같은 조합을 가져오면서 tempo를 좀 많이 빠르게
So previously, the Dynasty played a predominantly Orisa comp. After starting from map 3, they started to mirror our composition and play with a lot faster tempo. So I think we struggled a little bit to
그럼에도
counter
불구하고
that.
굉장히 잘 흘려내면서 좋은 매치까지 이끌어내셨는데 오늘 댈러스에서 트레이드 마크라고 볼 수 있는 퀸 말고도 시그마를 기용하는 비율이 굉장히 높았습니다. 이게 혹시 조합의 유연성이 높아진
So
걸까요?
we also saw a little bit of the
숨겨왔다가
Sigma instead of
중요한
the
경기
usual
때 딱
Junker Queen
보여주신
composition
걸까요?
today. Was this like a calculated thing or a pre-prepared thing?
저희도 나름대로 좀 준비를 하던 픽이긴 했는데 원래 시그마가 우리 상대로 좀 좋은 픽이어서 이제 어제 그때 한빈이가 퀸을 하면서 이제 델로스레아 선수한테 맨날 사륙이 끊겨가지고 너무 화난 나머지 저희가 시그마를 하라고 시켰습니다.
So this was a little bit pre-prepared because we knew from a previous practice that Sigma was a good pick against the Orisa. Yesterday's match, Hanbin was kind of mad that his rampages were getting interrupted by the side of Dynasty, so we were just like, oh, just scrap that. We'll just play the Sigma if that doesn't work out.
PTSD 와가지고 학창시절 생각나가지고 게임을 못하겠어요. 그리고 이제 만나고 싶은 팀은 애틀란타 레인인데 거기 힐러주가 또 제 이제 전팀원들 아닙니까?
So, sights on the playoffs now. Do you have any team that you want to go against and any team that you don't?
정말 보는 맛이
Well,
새로울 것 같아요.
I'm not going to talk about the team that I don't want to play against because that might trigger some PTSD for me. But I definitely want to go against the Atlanta Reign because, as you well know, the backline from the Atlanta Reign are my former teammates.
말씀 부탁드립니다.
저희가 일단
So you now move into the playoffs. Do you have any messages to the fans or any resolves coming into the playoffs?
아쉬운 모습 보여드려서 좀 죄송하고 그래도 어떻게든 이제 플레이오프 시드권을 떠났으니까.
So, a long ride since the entire season. I want to apologize to the fans for displaying some disappointing appearances in the early season, but we made it here, and then we'll make it all the way to the playoffs. And that's the end of the interview. Back to you guys.
What a way to end. Dallas Fuel, best team in the play-ins. The only team that could even attempt to match them was the Seoul Dynasty, but only one map out of 2 series, a 6-1 combined map score that Dallas Fuel had. And if you want to include the other games that Dallas played as well, because at Shanghai, I mean, 9-1, that's a pretty impressive record for play-ins for the Dallas Fuel.
And you said it a couple of times through the match, it's not how your season starts, which for Dallas Fuel was not pretty. It's how it finishes. And as we head over to our playoffs in Toronto, 9-1 for Dallas Fuel are finishing strong, and they may only get stronger as our patch changes as well. Still, commiserations to the Seoul Dynasty. Their 2023 season is over. It's another missed playoffs for Profit. But for Dallas Fuel, they could hardly let that throne sit vacant when they need to defend it.
And there it is, the 3 teams, Spark, Infernal, Fuel, in the order they qualified as well. Spark got there first with their dominant victory over the Dallas Fuel. And the second time the Spark played Fuel was just for brownie points, but Hangzhou were feeling hungry that day, so they got that as well. They got the qualification and then some. Seoul Infernal then got there through the good graces of the Seoul Dynasty, who actually won Bracket B, by the way, and knocking the O2 Blast out is what catapulted the Seoul Infernal into the playoffs. So maybe a little silver lining for the Dynasty fans. There will be one Seoul team at the playoffs, and possibly still an opportunity for you to swap sides to the other Seoul team right now, as these are the teams going, with Dallas securing it today. And a brilliant series, 3-1 versus the Seoul Dynasty. Salt of the Earth gameplay once again. Hambin getting the player of the match. And what a time to make it as well, as, you know, we have the imminent patch change coming on M. Dallas Fuel seem like they're primed, they're pumped for it. It's definitely going to be something that's going to be strong for them. So everything is coming up big for Dallas Fuel, all at the right time of the year.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it wasn't a 3-0 again. It was so cool to see some life come in that Flashpoint map, taking it all the way to 5. I was on the edge of my seat, as were so many Seoul fans. And like you said, for fans of Seoul home teams, they can still transfer over to Inferno. Make sure to get your paperwork in early, because that's obviously going to be a pretty jam-packed transfer there between those 2 teams. And I do wonder how our other teams are going to move on in that bracket as well. Hopefully, for the Dallas Fuel, we won't have to face the Hangzhou Spark too early in that bracket. It might be able to face some West teams first, so we can see how APAC stacks up after mid-season madness wasn't the greatest showing from our region.
It's fine. I don't know what people are talking about. People are way too reading into of particular results. It is what it is. Yeah, it's been a good run on the show, honestly. This is the last broadcast for the East until we head over to playoffs, where all the teams will be combined. So it's been a ride, man. It's just been a fantastic year again, where the first time we got to integrate contenders teams, that was a milestone. Yeah. Finally get to see the best of, you know, of the contender squads coming through. Finally get to see O2 Blast take on the Overwatch League teams, which has been something that, you know, you hear about the rumors behind the scenes, you hear about the scrim results, you hear about how damn good O2 Blast, you see them dominating contenders' career, and to finally see them actually come in, play the Overwatch League teams, beat them, not only them, but the other contenders teams as well, play so well, as you expect they do. Plenty of the contenders teams actually is filled to the brim with ex-Overwatch League players. Yeah, it's been a milestone year, that's for sure, in the East.
Yeah, the Reddit conjecture was finally satisfied. It was amazing watching the stories of teams like Dreamers and O2 Blast come so tantalizingly close to making it to our playoffs. Although it was indeed Seoul Dynasty who managed to scupper the hopes of O2 Blast. But hey, if they couldn't beat Seoul Dynasty, they certainly wouldn't have beat the Dallas Fuel, it would seem. And yeah, getting that integration between Tier 2 and Overwatch League has certainly been a goal for many people around the East for a while, and it's been an absolute honor to be able to show off some of the journeys of these players, as well as advertise them in a wider bracket. There's a reason why so many players from the successful Tier 2 teams got picked up early. You think about, say, Eichenwalde getting taken to the Seoul Dynasty. He came from Dreamers. Spectra on Toronto Defiant at the moment. He came from Dreamers as well. And maybe without this much of a showcase of the sort of in vitro skills of these players in officials, that would not have happened. So I think that it was a huge leap forward for a lot of Tier 2 players to be able to play in this ecosystem.
Yeah, and you know, big shout out to the production side of this as well. all the games that we saw live in the WDG arena, all the audience members that came in to watch any of the live games. We had some fantastic moments all throughout the year. Various hype matchups and rivalries were played on LAN. Shout out to all of the casters that have been here on the East.
Unknown and Evelyn for translating.
You all know who you are.
interviews.
Unknown Evelyn for translating. All the multiple people that have been involved in the East production and broadcast this year. You've all done a great job, and all the best for 2024. I'm sure it'll be a bright future for Overwatch Esports in the future, no matter what form it takes. But we still have the NA broadcast tomorrow, and then following that is going to be playoffs in Toronto. So book your tickets. I want to see you there. We'll see you later. It's been fun.